right, fellow babies, welcome back to Pachter on SIFTD.net. Hope you remember and you're watching this real time. If not, if you're watching a week late, we understand. Can't scrape together 50 bucks. SIFTD gives you all sorts of cool benefits, including some pack loving on time. But again, we understand if you can't afford it or you choose not to, watch it on YouTube a week late. Thanks for joining us, though. So our first question this week comes from SIFTD.net from Substance 104. The PS4 has outsold the Xbox One by a ratio of 2-to-1. If Neo releases this holiday season, not happening, do you think it's pretty much game over for Scorpio if it comes out 1 year later? There's a reason why Sony preempted E3 and announced Neo to the Financial Times in London and then didn't show it at E3. That's because it's not coming out this year. It's probably going to come out in March or April. So, we don't really know, but there's also a reason why Microsoft announced the Xbox One S and announced Scorpio both at E3. And that's because once Sony let the cat out of the bag with Neo, Microsoft said, oh shoot, we better get our console out quicker. So absolutely, I think that Sony will have a first mover advantage, and absolutely Microsoft's going to try to narrow that gap. The question just becomes, what are the two price points? If Neo is intended to support PlayStation VR, it may be very expensive. I mean, it really might be, $600 or $700. If it has all the stuff in it that is required for to run 2.6 megapixel the same way Oculus does, that's a $900 PC. I mean, it's entirely possible that Sony, because they've got kind of manufacturing scale, can pull it off for $500 or $600, but I don't think they want to release something that's inferior to Oculus. So my bias is the thing's going to be very expensive. And then the question is, what does Scorpio do? Scorpio, they're branding it as 4K. Keep in mind, 4K is 8 megapixel, and Oculus runs at 2.6. So there's no chance that Scorpio is 8 megapixel for games. I don't see how they could possibly pack that in unless they're going to charge, $1,500. So again, pricing matters a lot. I think it's less important how well these consoles do at launch. I think what's more important is the philosophy behind the two consoles. The mid-gen consoles, the PS 4.5, Xbox 1.5, are analogous to like a Blu-ray DVD player where you can put a standard definition DVD in there. The Blu-ray player will read it, it'll play it, and it will make it look better than it looked in an old DVD player, even though it's not a Blu-ray movie. So I think that's exactly how the PS 4.5 and Xbox 1.5 are going to work. They're going to upscale the PS4 and Xbox One games, but the games don't have to be special. If the disc you put in a Blu-ray player is a Blu-ray disc, the player knows that. It knows that it's not a standard def disc. Then it's looking for all the tracks that have all the extra pixels on them. And so the Blu-ray disc is going to be even sharper and look even better. That's how I think this stuff's going to work. I think that it's smart to do these mid-cycle upgrades because what will happen is the PS 4.5 will be fully backward compatible with PS4. So if you bought a PS4 in the last 2 or 3 years, you don't have to throw it away. It'll still work. And then when the PS 4.5 comes out, all your games will work, plus all the new stuff you buy will work. When the PS5 comes out 3 years from now, or 3 years from whenever this thing comes out, it will very likely be backward compatible for PS 4.5. So essentially what it will do is it'll play any game that came out the prior 3 years, which were playable on the PS 4.5, but it won't play 5 and 6 and 7-year-old games that came out on the PS4. So the answer to your question is, yes, I think Sony launches first. Yes, I think Microsoft is at a disadvantage if that happens. Microsoft will rush their console out as quickly as they can, but if the price point of the Neo and the price point of the Scorpio are dramatically higher, I don't know if it makes much difference at all. So again, we know the Xbox One S is $299. By the time Neo launches, and I'm going to say March, April, May in there of 17, maybe the Xbox One S is $249, and the Neo is $599. Then I don't think it really matters at all. Our next question comes from SIFTD. copyright alert, from Tomb Raiders. I think you can't use that name. Do you think it benefits Sony to allow Rocket League and Gwent to have cross-platform online play with Xbox One and PC? Would allowing such a feature in other more expensive games like Call of Duty or Battlefield affect their market share positively or negatively? Look, the reason that we don't have cross-platform play between Xbox and PlayStation is because each of Xbox and PlayStation charge you for the privilege of playing multiplayer. So the real issue is Microsoft wants to charge you $60 a year, Sony wants to charge you $50, and if they allow cross-platform play, what do? I mean, arguably, I would play on Xbox and pay them $60. You'd play on PlayStation and pay them $50, and we could play against one another. But they would have to integrate their servers. They'd have to be able to balance the load. I think it could be done, and if anybody could pull it off, it would be Microsoft. But I think Microsoft is, living in this delusional world where everybody plays on the Xbox only and they'll never play PlayStation. And I think they had it that way for a couple of years during the Xbox 360 cycle. Sony got their act together with PlayStation Network, and they finally figured out how to make everything work flawlessly, and it's been great. I don't think Sony wants to give Microsoft an inch. So, interestingly, I think it'll be a while. I think it should happen. I think that Microsoft's taking that step with cross-platform PC and Xbox play, and I think that right now they're talking about Xbox Anywhere, so you can play your same game on the PC. I don't think you're going to get cross-platform play, but to answer your question, yes, I think that it would be really good for all games, Call of Duty, Battlefield, if they were platform agnostic. Now, they make Call of Duty on both platforms, they make Battlefield on both platforms, but I think it would benefit everybody if the entire community who plays Call of Duty or Battlefield could play one another. And then you don't care if your friends have an Xbox or a PlayStation, you just want to play with your friends. Totally makes sense to me. And it's sort of like playing basketball and you wear Nikes and I wear Adidas, who cares? So I think that that's ultimately the goal for everybody. I don't think that happens as long as we have competitive consoles. I think it happens when we go off console, when you go to PC as the main platform, when you connect your PC to your television through a Chromecast stick or something, then everybody plays on a single network. And that's where I think Microsoft's going with this Xbox Anywhere. I think Microsoft is trying to protect the ecosystem where they collect $60 a year from, God knows how many people, from 25 or 50 million people. And I think that, that revenue stream is really important to them, very profitable. So I think they want to migrate to PC, but they want to continue to be the place that arranges and dedicates the servers to multiplayer. And Amazon's going to have something to say about that. I mean, Amazon would like to be that outfit too. So I really think it's going to be an interesting next 5 or 6 years as we see migration off console, and we see if anybody comes up with a competitor to Xbox Live or PlayStation Network. But I don't think Sony or Microsoft are going to help anybody else to succeed and take share from them. Our next question from SIFTD, from Suni Xbone. NPD revealed that it will start to track and report digital sales alongside retail from now on. All the big publishers beside the platform holders are on board, but the data is not available to them unless they participate. Could this convince Microsoft and Sony to sign up at some point? What changed for me, as a subscriber to the NPD report? All right, that's a good question. The truth is that digital sales that the NPD is going to capture are console software sales. So there's no digital sale on the Xbox One that doesn't go through the Microsoft Store. I mean, theoretically, I guess, if they make discs for Call of Duty DLC, theoretically you can buy a disc if it exists. But more often than not, they used to do that. I haven't, now that I think about it, I haven't bought DLC in disc form since Fallout 3, which would have been like 2010. So I'm not sure if they even still make it, but they used to. But Microsoft stamped out that disc. So there is no sale on the Xbox that Microsoft doesn't know about. It doesn't happen. And Obviously, Microsoft would like to know what Sony's data is, and Sony would like to know what Microsoft's data is, but they don't need Activision's data because they have it already. If it happens on the Xbox, then Microsoft knows. If it happens on the PlayStation, then Sony knows. So rather than give it to the NPD, who is a great organization, and they do a really good job, and I will confess I get tremendous value for my subscription. Good service, good value, they do a good job, but they sell it to me. So the publishers give them data, and the retailers give them point-of-sale data, and the NPD turns around and packages that data, inputs it, and sells it to me, and they make a profit. And God bless America, it is a profit deal. That's what they're supposed to do. Microsoft and Sony could just decide to share with one another and cut the NPD out. And then who cares if I have the data? Because Microsoft doesn't care. If they cared, they'd give it to me. And Sony sure as hell doesn't care. They'd give it to me. So rather than have a middleman broker this marriage, why don't they just get married and share the data? They're allowed to. So the answer is they will never. They won't share it with one another. But if they were inclined to do so, they would do it directly. They wouldn't need a middleman to broker it. And yes, Activision is giving the NPD, here's what Call of Duty did for DLC. Here's how many digital copies of Call of Duty we sold. I just got the first report, and shocker, digital sales are 25% of total sales. Hey, if you read anything I ever wrote in the last 3 months, I said I estimate it's 25%. Go figure. Another question from SIFTD, from Deus Trinitas. Is Microsoft and Sony's new strategy of incremental hardware updates able to keep pace competitively with technological advances in PC performance? Do you foresee a point in the future at which the performance gap between PC and consoles becomes so great that Microsoft and Sony are forced to abandon the console market and shift to publishing their first-party games for PC? No, they'll never keep pace with PC. PCs, God, I wish I could count how many new graphics cards there are every year, but it seems to me like NVIDIA has 3 models a year. And they're so expensive for like the 1080. The GeForce 1080 is like $700 or some crazy amount. So no, you're never going to keep up, because the rabid PC aficionado is going to pay whatever it takes. Now, he's not going to upgrade every 3 times a year, but when you buy a new PC, I would imagine you can spend $3,000 pretty easily if you really want to. That's the problem, is you can just spend a lot. And so, sure, a $300 console is not going to keep up with a $1,500 PC. No chance. And so what's that mean? That means that you're going to always have a performance gap. The good news is you're not going to have software that takes advantage of that performance gap, because developers have to design to the lowest common denominator. And if there's only 1 million PCs out there that that run the NVIDIA GeForce 1080, then they're not going to make a game that requires that. They're going to run the 970 or something, or a slower graphics card. But that still doesn't mean that PC falls behind console. It never will. If you think about the Xbox One S coming out at $299, and Microsoft swears that they're making money on that, how much is the CPU GPU combo? How much could that possibly be? $50? Probably. How long does it take before Apple says, we're going to put that CPU GPU in an iPhone? Well, certainly if it comes down in price to $25, they will. So how many generations before the iPhone runs as fast as the Xbox One? I'd say the iPhone 10, maybe the iPhone 9. It's going to happen. And when it does, why can't I just use Apple TV and fling the game picture right up to my TV? I won't be able to play an Xbox game because Microsoft won't let it happen, but Activision will let it happen. Activision will sell me Overwatch and let me play it the same way I play it on an Xbox One or a PS4. They'll sell me the PC version and let me download it to my phone. It's going to happen. So, I think that that's kind of the end game. And I think that these incremental hardware updates are trying to keep hardware relevant. But I think the bigger news is not the Scorpio. I think the bigger news is Xbox Anywhere, because what Microsoft is doing is they're future-proofing the Xbox by shifting the focus to a game that's playable both on Xbox and on Windows 10. giving us a controller that works both for the Xbox and your PC, because they want me to play a game any place. And the end game is, if they can stay relevant as the store where I buy my game, they can collect 30% just the way Apple does on iTunes. If they can be the Xbox Live matchmaker for multiplayer, so I can go on and find my friends and play on my Call of Duty team through Xbox Live, they can keep that $60 a year coming in. And if you eliminate the need for a console and you make every phone, every tablet, every laptop, every Surface Pro ultimately, capable of playing games, we're probably going to increase the market, the addressable market for games, by 5 or 10-fold, ultimately. So if you get 5 or 10 times as many people who can play games, you won't sell 5 times as many, you probably sell twice as many, but you're going to sell a lot more games. I think that's really why we're seeing Xbox Anywhere, and that's really why we're seeing incremental console improvements, because I think the console guys recognize that the days of the console are numbered. They're trying to head toward that day when we kind of migrate off console and they become less and less relevant. So I think that's what's going on. Okay, fellow babies, thanks for joining us yet again on Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. Hope you remember it's $50 a year to be a member. You get all sorts of cool stuff, and we're trying to build up the original content. So, Shane's back. He's got new camera equipment, new sound equipment, new lights. We're going to keep this stuff going as long as we can. If you don't have $50 for SIFTD, we understand. If you choose not to spend it or you don't have the money, you can enjoy Pachter Factor on YouTube. And if you're watching it a week late, then that's what you're doing. But you got some pack loving. I'm glad to have my fellow babies join us. See you next week. NPD. Okay.